Hello, everyone. My name is Colton Cockrell. I'm a certified financial fiduciary and an independent financial advisor with Share McKinley Group. So I have with me today Gratia Schoemakers with GP Schoemakers, PLLC. And today she's going to tell us a story of a time that she's experienced the effects of not having a trust. So Grace, let's talk about it.
So the first thing that I want to point out is a trust is a trust is a trust. They're not all the same. The main one that we see people use are revocable living trust. This is a document that we can change as we go. It's for our benefit. What it really does is it creates a situation where we have a legal document that provides the guidelines of how our assets need to be managed if we cannot manage them ourselves. This is either because we're incapacitated or because we're dead. I had a couple come to me a while ago where mom and dad died, and mom and dad did not have a revocable living trust. They should have had a revocable living trust because they matched, they ticked off all the criteria. They had over 150K, they had minor children, they had grown children, they had assets in multiple states. And if you don't plan for these things, you get a boo-boo. The boo-boo in this case was because we had assets in multiple states, we had to go through probate in multiple states. Probate is a very specific state process. So if we have a house in Texas, Texas probate rules. We have a house in Arizona, Florida, New York, California, wherever, those rules are mandated on what happens with the house. So you have to go through multiple processes with multiple fees and costs, and it could have been avoided. The other thing is where we have minors. If we have a trust in place, we can have people in place that will manage our assets for our children. Minors cannot inherit, minors cannot own anything. A trust would kept this child or these children out of guardianship and state management of their assets. So a lot of time and money, really. It's an expensive process because it's an ongoing accounting every year until this child is 18. That goes on, so it eats away from whatever people inherited. The other issue that we have is if we have a blended family situation, or we have a situation where the child inherits a certain magnitude, we don't want this to go through court because court is public. There are ways that people are being scammed out of their inheritance because, you know, an 18-year-old with 300K is not a 30-year-old with 300K or a 50-year-old with 300K. They're gonna do stupid stuff the younger they are. Okay, not always the case. Most of the time it's the case. The other thing that we have is when we have non-revocable trust is somebody created a will. They had no trust provisions in it, and they had not a non-revocable trust on the side with it, which meant that the person who inherited got the money straight out. That person was on government aid. They got SSI disability, and they got some other programs. The moment that they had money in hand, the government program stopped because suddenly they were not of need and therefore got disqualified. They had to eat their whole inheritance before they could reapply. It could have been avoided. The main difference that we see with living trust and non-revocable trust are, one is set up to create flexibility, avoid probate, have some privacy, and make things go smoothly. We can change the document, we can change what's in there, out there. It doesn't really matter, there's no tax consequences. However, if we set up an irrevocable trust, we lose control. And because we lose control, we get tax benefits, we get creditor protection benefits. And if it's not done right the first time, the moment that an irrevocable trust is set up, it becomes irrevocable. You will have to get a beneficiary's consent to break it open, or a court to allow you to break it open. So sometimes we see people set up the wrong document because, you know, they're do-it-yourself people. and they find that they are captured in something that they did not want or something that did not fit their lifestyle. So there's always reasons to be very careful on doing it yourself. The goals that we have need to be in the document, and what is right now might not be right later. So we can start with something that's revocable and end up with a non-revocable document based on how our life goes. But the document needs to be set up correctly from the beginning. The dangers that we see is it's not done correctly, or it has consequences that we did not think of because we did not think it through.
And anytime you're working with the trust, just from everything you just said, there's a lot that goes into it. So make sure you consult with your attorney or talk to a estate planner about this, because the trust could be an important document. Grace, thank you for sharing all that. And if you have a trust already, make sure you're updating it. I know you say that all the time, Grace. So thanks again for coming out, and we will see you later.